Hello, welcome to Monday's preview for Doncaster Dogs tonight. The race meeting is 12 races and kicks off at 6:09. First race in A2 over the 483 metre trip. Looks two runners here. Magical Katie, who won last three, well, won for us, I should say. Didn't actually put her up a bit because she got smashed, and I think that's what's happening quite a lot, as we know that dogs do get bet on the earlies and then all of a sudden don't become bets at the prices. But Magical Katie was one that I wanted to be with it, but again, I've missed the price here, and it's Sharp as Wilbur that I have to bet. They look to be the two main dogs that will be going prominent to the turn. Magical Katie just stepping up slightly in grade from the A3 into the A2, but it's not really a strong A2, so it's not much of an uplift at all. And she's already beaten her next door neighbour, Burntfoot Roxy, quite convincingly as well. So there shouldn't really be a lot for her to worry about. The only worry for me is probably the switch from 3 into 2 a little bit. But she broke and sort of stepped to her right and then straightened up again. So she should be all right. Denzo Style on the outside of her in 3 isn't really an early bird. He's more of a staying type, and he won last time out again in lower grade. Well backed, and he's more of a kind of a chasey type more than anything else, but should be finishing off. But it's Sharp as Wilbur. I was interested in at the price around about 130, 5 to 2, that sort of ilk, but 130 best. I made him a little bit shorter than that. He's a bit of a quirky character, but he's got early pace and he stays. So I just wondered whether he could get to the front here. The pair of them, 2 Magical Katie and 5 Sharp as Wilbur, have both beaten a Romantic Coil recently. And Romantic Coil actually won for us yesterday on the Sunday card. So the form's good. I think that Tullamurray My Way is more of a staying type. Massive Ego was a decent dog in his day, but he's getting a little bit long in the tooth now. He's had over 100 races as well. And I don't think he'll live with Sharp as Wilbur to the turn. So I'm going to bet Sharp as Wilbur. I kind of wanted to play the pair of them. The price has gone away. If Magical Katie goes out a little bit, then I'll probably say a mistake. Or the other way of saving is probably to bet Sharp as Wilbur in the place market as well in race 1. On to race 2. This is a 5-dog race. Track 1 is vacant. I thought it was really tough enough. I slightly made the favourite here, Keedy Warrior, in trap 3. Got a chance probably to lead off to get inside Travilla Star. Will need to, I think, to win. And again, 9 to 4 crashed into sort of 13 to 8 and 6 to 4 now. So miles too short. So I didn't have a bet in race 2. On to the third race, a little bit of a leap of faith, this one, but the price dictated the bet here. Track 1, Molly's Mill. She's been off 16 days. She's well up to this grade. She has been running sort of A2s not that long ago, and this is an A4, and it's not really a great A4 either. So I think it's a bit of a dip in class here. She's really only a breaker, but she's been getting tapped for toe quite badly. I mean, as I say, when she was running A2, she would kind of live and then she'd come again a little bit. She's a bit of a thinker, but she's got a really good draw because Ballyboss Sim isn't really much to speak of in the early pace department. Won a lowly A5 last time out. Sharp as Rugrat is more of a slower way run-on dog. Now, Move Over Kim, the kennel mate, is probably the one that is going to be the main danger. Again, the price 13 to 8 was far too short, much shorter than I made her. And I did fancy her when she won last time out, but that was 16 days ago. So the pair of them from the kennel have been off quite a long while, you'd imagine, in the scheme of things for very regular races. Carney's Phoebe, I can never get her right. She's very, very hit and miss. She was beaten by Move Over Kim, but then she's won since. But again, that was a weak race. Minnie's Ivan, he's a bit of a chasey character that he runs on in the closure stages, but he can drop himself out. But all in all, I thought 11 to 2, Molly's Mill was massive. I actually made a favourite, and it could be a scenario where if she pops out and holds a pitch, she could nearly lead or turn behind a kennel mate, and I think she'd outstay Move Over Kim. So a solid bet there, Molly's Mill in the third race, I should say. Moving on to the fourth, a lowly B7. This is a real poor low B7. Nettie's Turbo. I saw Dave Johnson put up, it could be a chance for her to win. She's got a massive chance to lead on the inside. Staying types in 2, Moving Stream, and 3, Afternasia. Afternasia's been really poor. Tried to forgive her recent form, but she's been really bad of late. And I think she was put in 9-4 with one firm and 7-2 with the other. Just seems a ridiculous price. Made her much bigger. Pineman's Master could be prominent because of the fact there's not masses of early speed. Eden Lane, very, very hit and miss, but that one has got a bit of early and has kind of got form lines with Nettie's Turbo in the early pace department. Cry Maggie now is approaching a decent stage in her season. She's 11 and a half weeks now, and she's been running through her season. She's been woeful, but she's just showing signs that she might come back to life. She's a breaker, gets tapped for toe, a bit crabby on the bends, and then she just runs on late, and that's how she wins the races, by staying. So she could be a runner. I made a slight favourite, but again, she's been nibbled at. She's 2-1, a bit shorter than I made her. So all in all, I might have a really tiny bet on Nettie's Turbo, and in the hope that she leads off and hangs on. 7.18. I was going to try and put up Mulcair Dawn, but again, couldn't get the price. Was 7-2 with one firm and 9-4 with the other. I made around about the 9-4 chance. She's been off 21 days again for Kenny Bowman. Can lead with a break, but you need the break for her to lead. But Do It Quietly doesn't do a lot in Trap 2. And Break a Day Ebony, who won a B7, is coming up a little bit in grade here and will edge in from box 3, but will stayed on quite well, actually, to beat a Trap Amelia, a decent pup. Now, Eden Bolt beat Trap Amelia herself in a B7 3 runs back. And I just wondered whether Eden Bolt, with a decent draw here, nearly made the corner. When we backed Daffy's Rose last week, and Eden Bolt went with that one to the turn and nearly made the corner, would definitely have led 5 and 6. And I just thought maybe at 5-1, that might be worth a little bit of a nibble. So I might play 1 and 4 there in race 5, just a small stakes on the Matchbook Exchange. On to race 5, and I just favoured Kid You Not on the draw here. He was another one. He'd had a bit of an absence, and he came back, and I thought the run was a much improved effort. He was a dog I always liked in sort of B3, B4s, and he's now into B5s, and the reason is because he's not been running well. But he just showed that flash of he might be back to somewhere near his best. I actually backed Anarchy in the race, and Anarchy is one of those that gets out pace and then runs on, so he always needs that luck, and he couldn't get past the wall of dogs at the third bend. And I just think Kid You Not will be in front of him. And I didn't really see then how Anarchy would back run Kid You Not as a strong himself. He's a bit of a thinker, Kid You Not. The pair of them probably are. I might just save mistake on Anarchy if he drifts out. But I just thought he was underpriced on the fact that we backed him last week. And he was a shorter price maybe than he should have been. Dahi's Rosie, she is up in class here. She could lead down the middle, but I don't think she's quite good enough. Luna Jet and One for Coco, they're the other early pace times. And if they get into that kind of speed battle, they can't all lead. And I just thought if Kid You Not could get some kind of pitch at the halfway, he got inside One for Coco last week. So I thought that could be his route for glory. And around about 4-1, 7-2, I thought he was a little bit overpriced. So just a small bet, Kid You Not. Possibility we could save on Anarchy just in case that one comes and chins us. On to race 7. A dog I really like here, Cathal's Icon, is a really improving type. He's come right the way through the grades of B5. He's won B4 and B3 in his last 2 efforts. When he first came to Doncaster, he looked a bit of a short runner, but not at all now because he's staying really well. He beat a dog called Santro Bella last time out. Santro Bella's a good quality staying dog in the sort of B2, B3 class. And she actually won yesterday, coming from off the pace and beat an improving pup of Sean Parker's. So that form has been franked. Cathal's Icon seems to be staying that little bit better to me. And then with that early pace that's going to take him to the front. Boss Girl's very, very hit and miss in Track 1. She ran all right last time out, to be fair, but she doesn't always come out like that. And I just thought Cathal's Icon could lead her anyway, cut loose, and then keep on now in the closing stages, because I've been really impressed with the way that Cathal's Icon is improving because of the stamina. Footfield Adam, I don't think he can clear Cathal's Icon, and he's basically a front runner. Footfield Jemmy should get out pace from 4. Rosanda Best, again, up in class and just a bit of a one-pace stayer. KD Rocket, there's been a bit of money for that. We backed this one quite strong last week, but that was a real drop in grade. And it's a little bit of a tougher task for Keedy Rocket, but I guess in the early pace department, that is the main danger. But I'm pretty convinced that Cathal's Icon is a fair bet here. I would bet this one as low as 7-4, and you can get just over 2-1. On to race 8. This one is scheduled as a 5-dog race. Trap 6 is vacant. I wanted to just side with Read the Rules, but again, early price is 3-1, straight away into 2-1. The other firms are 7-4. That's what I make it now. So I didn't think there was a lot of sweets, because Read the Rules was in 2 last week, now switches to 1. Classic Quattro was in 1, now in 2. Classic Quattro's probably got slightly better early, but maybe not enough to even clear Read the Rules, and he could even lead round. Val Blonde's a dog I actually think would probably do better over the 4-8-3, a slow breaker that just runs on late. Pinocchio Jim's up in class. He ran all right, to be fair, gritted it out, but that was in B5 company and has got a 2-grade uplift. And Ivy Hill Blaze, slow away and couldn't get anywhere near 1 and 2 last night. So all in all, probably Read the Rules a win, but I thought was about his price really, so I didn't put that up as a bet. But you might want to bet that one small on the Matchbook Exchange again at around about 2-1 if it goes that price. So on to race 9, and we start the sprints that tail the card. I like a dog here, Blast Off Mo. Real nice type, but improving. Done us a few favours as well in the last few weeks. And again, I just think I would prefer probably this dog in Trap 1, but all he met on the booze quite recently was a good 2.5 lengths better than that rival to the Bend. I don't think on the booze has been quite firing. I've backed her actually the last two ups in D3, but this is a D2 and it's a big step up in class because, as I say, Mo's already beaten Booze in the last few weeks. Interesting runner is Gentle Maid, not always the best of breaker, but has got pace. This one's been off 23 days for Ricky Overton, so never had a season. You don't quite know what's been happening, whether it was an issue, but probably some kind of runner. Haven Penny's just a smash breaker, gets out pace and then runs on again. Bit of a quirky character. Kilgraney Misty's got ability. Don't think she wants to quite be out in 5, but and it's a quick run for her as well. I think she's kind of been struggling a little bit around the bends, but she's been running well, to be fair to her. She was 3rd last week and she won by a short head the week before, beating Jim the Liar, who's a decent yardstick. And the bottom long range Brody's completely and utterly outclassed, despite a decent draw. So yeah, a fair bet there. Blast Off Mo around about 11-4, maybe 5-2. I made that one shorter than that. On to race 10 and a tricky D3 contest, slightly favoured the wides. Burnfoot Duke and possibly Just Watchwoman made that slight favour, but a 3 the field race, and all in all, very, very tough. Come Together is going to be edging off from 2. It gives Ballygur an absolute plot draw, but that one's easy on the bends and not really running very well, so I don't see how that one can take advantage. Moving on to race 11, and the bet here is Penny's Drayok, running really well. Got outsnapped by Cool Chaliani, couldn't catch my breath when that got beat last week, Penny's Drayok, but I'm going to give this one another go. A little bit nibbled at in the market and probably on the mark now, but if it's a 7-4 chance, I think that's still worth a bet. Maybe 6-4 is the worst, but Show and Go probably got a bit of pace, but wants to be drawn wider out of 3. And Drumcrow Yank, a bit hit and miss. He took 1-2 runs back when he was well back to clear the field. He beat Show and Go on that occasion, but since then he's had a slightly tougher assignment last time out, and again a moderate break, and he kind of looks after himself in the bend. So I think Show and Go is a bit of a negative for him getting round. So it's a lovely scene that Penny's Drayok will be running up, and I think she can win race 11. Moving on to the 12th, it's a tricky race. It's probably sort of 3 the field race really, but I sided with 2 prices here. Make It a Million in Trap 2 has been breaking moderately but flying to the turn, and I thought this one had some kind of a squeeze. As you know, Titanic Tip's not a dog that I really like as a sprinter, but to be fair, been running well. Had a bit of a break and ran all right last time out, but I think Make It a Million's already been flying past that rival in previous lines of form, so I'd be confident that with a sensible break, Make It a Million can clear and lead the inside. And the other dog that I thought was a bit unlucky last time out was Ballygur Mere. So the 2 Make It a Million is about 5-1. Ballygur Mere is about 4-1. So just a small play in the lucky last there to round off proceedings. Let's get the tips up then. Opening contest, 609 Sharpies Wilbur at 100-30. Molly's Mill, track 1 is a silly price, 11-2. I'd even bet that one around about a 3-1 chance. If you get 3-1, I'd still back Molly's Mill. Kid You Not, A small bet, 130. Cathal's Icon, fairly confident this one. I bet this one's 7-4 plus. Blast Off Mo, again, another decent bet, probably 9-4 plus. Penny Stray, yes, 13-8. I did get a bit of 15-8 earlier on, so I put this one up because I didn't want people not to have a bet at all. But again, if it's 6-4, have a small bet. If it's 7-4, have a better bet. 9.28, 2 and 4, but just for small stakes to round off what looks a decent punting card tonight. So all the best of luck, and we'll see you again on Wednesday.